Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with honor and blessings to every one of you. And I'm just going to try to keep this short. Uh, yeah, like I normally do. Inside joke. I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers. That's my shamanic name. And I had a discussion with a couple of people over the last few days, and have been doing a little bit of side work, back work, you know, back channel kind of looking around. But one of the things I had a discussion with a dear friend of mine of many, many years who works at a local polling station every time that they're, she volunteers every year for years now. And so we were discussing, what we noticed over over this election. And I was told by my good friend that they had almost a 200% increase in voters, where they may have 250 people, roughly maybe 300. That's like they had over 800 people at just one polling booth. Now the difference was they were bringing people in wheelchairs, and that some of these people, they because of their disability, and it's by law that these people can help them. But my friend said that the people who were in the wheelchairs were like Alzheimer patients. They didn't even understand the questions. And the people who were helping them were saying, here, push this button. Here, push this button. And and the poll workers were standing around going, what? And like, oh, no, 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 it's okay. It's okay. Nothing to see here. So where there were normally 250 people, there's now 800 people, and a lot of these people are being brought in from literally from different nursing homes and things, being bussed in, not necessarily by the nursing home, mind you, and that these helpers are helping these old people to vote who can't. They don't. I was told that because the poll workers were there were noticing that these people didn't even understand the question. Who am I, honey? Why am I here? What am I voting for? Oh, it just pushed this button right here. Now, I live in the state of Georgia, and there's been some shenanigans and hanky panky going on before. And I've noticed a few things over the years locally. In fact, the first one or maybe two times after they first initiated the Diebold or Diebold, depending on what you want to call them, but they're based in Atlanta, and they build these voting machines. Well, there was just stuff all wrong. And, the machines would go off, and I wasn't sure that I got my vote done. And I came home, which is like about 2 miles away from my polling place, and I called the election committee immediately. And I said, look, this is my district. This is the polling place. We're having issues here. She was like, oh, well, don't worry about it. They've got a technician on the way. And there, it was 7 o'clock and the polls were supposed to be closed. And where we normally have three machines, there was only one. And so, the polling place was like, because of the polling errors in the machines, and this has happened before, and since, well, I'm sorry, it hadn't happened before because they had just introduced these electronic machines versus the old lever type, which I was like, they might have been big and clunky, but they worked, and they were a lot harder to fix than some of these other things. But the point is that there are people out there screaming up and down and go, oh, you're trying to steal the election. Well, no, I think somebody tried to steal the election, quite frankly, and it didn't work. But the thing is that we need to get to the bottom of this. So if some people say, well, the Democrat should have won instead of the Republican, maybe not, because there's a lot of vote fixing going on. And I mean, there are people on the local levels who just think, well, I'm going to do the right thing. I just can't let this other person win. And I'm surprised, in having conversation with some local folks and just say, how is it down here around our area? And they were like, well, this has been like this. And people were coming in and going, well, wait a minute, you're voting in the wrong precinct. Well, I want to vote anyway, but you can't. You're in the wrong precinct. People coming in, and it's like with no ID whatsoever. Hi, I'm so-and-so and I want to vote. And it's like, no, Sorry about that. No. And now I must admit, I got to say something else about this, the voter rolls and so forth. There's a lot of mystique going on around there about cleaning up the voter rolls. Well, listen, my brother moved to Florida years ago. He's still on the rolls. My ex-wife, who I divorced in 2004/5, her name's still on the rolls. Okay. And it's like, well, wait a minute. That was, 2005, and this is 2018. That's 13 years ago. And their names are still on the rolls. My brother's been gone for closer to 15 years, but that's not the point. The point is they're no longer here. They may be registered to vote here, but they don't no longer live here. So do the voter rolls need to be updated? Yes. Bottom line, yes. Period. If my brother moves back up here and whatever, and then he would have to register to vote here again, then he would be given a new card and put back on the rolls. But at this particular point, he has not voted in the last several elections, and so in so many words, technically, he's not a current voter. He's not on the current rolls, and so it's like, well, why not? If I don't vote in certain elections or whatever, it's like, well, I would, but I always have my voter card and I always have my ID because I want to prove who I am. So those people out there go, well, I don't see why I should have any kind of identification. Listen, it's to keep other folk who are not legal from voting. If you wish to vote, then take the initiative, have your ID and your voter registration card. If you don't have one, go back down to the county and you can get one, or call them up. They'll mail one to you. I mean, you can get a voter registration card. It's not that hard, especially if you've registered at least once in the county where you reside. Now, you may have to reapply for the district that you're in. Now, I live in Colquitt County. I've been in the same area. Now, my area has been redistricted since I've been here. My representatives were changed, but where I live is the same spot. Now, my district here in the county has not changed. So the statewide for the House of Representatives, they do a little gerrymandering every year or so, or every other election, and the population is shifted, and so it's all about population. And they try to get, if you're a black candidate, then you'd want to get more blacks in your district so that you have good support, but whatever it is, okay, and that may have been a poor choice, but that's the truth. You may want less blacks in your district, as some of these folks do. Just saying, it works both ways. But there are a lot of Mexican immigrants, migrants, and a lot of illegals, quite frankly, that live around here and live in Thomasville and some of these surrounding counties. And if they walked up there and said, "Hi, I want to vote," number one, it's like, habla español. It's like, excuse me, you don't speak English, but you want to vote in this election? Wait a minute. Well, they told me I could vote. Well, but you're not even a U.S. citizen. Well, Obama said it was okay. Hang on there, folks. Listen, Americans should vote. Every one of us who have legal residency here in the United States, who were born here, raised here, we're the ones that should be able to vote. Now, any immigrant can immigrate into the United States and become a citizen and then have full privileges of the rest of us. There is nothing wrong with that. I applaud people who want to come here and wish to become United States citizens. I applaud that hand over fist. But I've known hundreds of illegals living around here over the many years that I've lived here from Mexico. They've told me personal stories of how they had to, pay a coyote $1,000, $2,000 to get them across the border and to be abandoned in the desert, where people have died, where people, this one particular gentleman I knew him for several years, and every year or so he'd go back to Mexico, And it was easy to get into back to Mexico, but he had to pay, extreme amount of money to get back across the border. And I'm like, well, why do you keep doing this? And he goes, well, I save up money when I work here in the United States and I take it back home. And he says, I got a house I'm building. And, so he'll come up here and work for a year, go back home to Mexico for 6 months, spend the money that he earned, keep $2,000 so he can get back across the border illegally and, and pray that he doesn't die on the way. And he's, I'm like I said, I've known him for many years. But to the point, he's a fine gentleman. He tried to immigrate to the United States. He tried to get a green card and the system wouldn't let him. Okay. So now with that said, the immigration system is broken and it should be fixed, needs to be fixed. All right. We're in a digital age now where somebody can put a thumbprint, do an eye scan, something like that. And like, that's the gospel. So anytime you go somewhere, it's like, do I need to prove who I am or whatever? Well, do the little eye scan, use your thumbprint, please. And okay, that's who you say you are. Okay, fine. And it's like, why not? In the olden days, people knew people. You moved into a town, if somebody was new there, you knew right away, you ain't from around here, are you, bub? Now, when I first moved up here to Georgia from Tampa, that's everywhere I went. You ain't from around here, are you, boy? And I learned that I needed to change how I spoke around these folks and that I would start talking country like. And they were like, well, you been around this? You've been around Colquitt County all your life? How come I never met you, boy? It's like, well, I'm from around here, and then I'd ease them into, I grew up around Tampa and I was a country boy down there. Oh, you a Florida cracker then, huh? And so, but anyway, but to the point though, people knew people. So when you went to go vote or something, the ID wasn't necessarily necessary because folks knew folks. But now with this new influx of people from all over the place, population shifts changing. I've noticed that around here, a lot of people who have moved away. There really aren't a lot of young folk in our neighborhood in this 2-mile area around it here. It's mostly middle-aged, 45 pushing 50, as to me, 66, and many of my neighbors are several years older than me. So we're all retired folks around here. Folks down the street, retired. Folks over there, retired. Down the road, retired. Him and his wife both. Across the, so there are a lot of retired folks around here. Not many children as was, in the past. So the demographics change. And so so some of these people just aren't here anymore. But when I walk into the voting booth, I've been going in there for so long, people go, oh, hey, Dave, how you doing? So they know me. I still give them my ID, even though they know me. This because that's the protocol. And for people to want to argue that fact, it's like, why wouldn't you want to prove that you're an American? I want to prove it. I have the right. This is me. I've been living here, my residence. Here's my card. Here's my driver's license. I'm going to vote now. Thank you very much. And here's my proof that I can. Now, for those people who say, well, wait a minute now, what about the ID thing? And look, if you've got to have an ID for everything nowadays. And, Mrs. Smith, if you go into if we all have, I had to take my birth certificate in yesterday to the Georgia Highway Patrol Division so that I could prove I am who I am by my birth certificate, yada, yada, etc., so that I could get my formal driver's license. They issued me a provisional 3-month license until I could prove who I actually was, because my previous driver's license was invalid. I've been here for almost 40 years, but that doesn't matter. I still had to prove who I was to get my Georgia driver's license extended, reissued, etc. I was pissed at first, and I realized, listen, there are so many people who moved into the United States, and some folks who have been here for a long time, and I know of a few people that I refuse to discuss their names. I just know them. The one person is from Canada, and he's lived in the United States all of his life. And so if he had to get a birth certificate, guess what? He has to get one from Canada because he's Now, he's supposed to be a United States citizen, which is different, but to the point, if they ask him for his birth certificate, it's going to say Canada. Now, he has to show his citizenship in order to get a driver's license in Florida, I might add. But to the point, it's like, but he's been here all but 5 years of his 70 years of living, And you go, what? Doesn't this seem a little bit outrageous? Well, that's the price we have to pay for, quote, our freedom. And if it's to prove who you are, then prove it. Quit whining about it, because the folks who are whining about it have an agenda that you just aren't aware of. And say, well, why wouldn't I want to show my driver's license or my card? Well, because maybe they want to slip some folks in who aren't really from here, or who aren't registered. Now, they may be citizens, but they haven't registered. That's a separate issue. Now, but so register to vote. You can do it any dadgum time, Monday through Friday at your local place. Sometimes you can do it online, depending what state or what county you were in. So it's not hard to register. All right. But for people to argue that we shouldn't have to have voter registration cards, to me, is plumb silly. I want folks to show their ID. In my community, if somebody new's moved in, we don't know where you're from. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be allowed to vote. Just prove who you are, please, and welcome to our small community of voters here, of 200 maybe voters in this little district here where I'm at down here in South Georgia. So it's like, but there are a lot of these little communities all around, and there has been a giant influx of Mexicans, Venezuelans. I've met people from of the Dutch Indies down around Venezuela and on the coast of South America, on the east coast of South America, that have been living here for many years. And it's like, well, can't I go vote? And it's like, well, did you ever get your green card? What's a green card? But you see, it's because their features are more European than, say, a darker skinned Mexican national. And I speak with respect on this, by the way. I'm just saying there is a difference. There is a skin color difference. All right. These folks, quote, pass as white. And because they have been educated, and I'm glad that they're here, they are contributing to our society. But at the same time, if I go to Venezuela and live, and then I want to vote, I would expect to become, signed up in Venezuela or the Dutch Indies or wherever it is. I would just normally think that's what I should do if I wish to vote here. And I must follow their rules. I mean, that's like, duh. But some of these people are like, well, I have to register? Mean I just can't walk in there? I'm sorry, but no, there is a protocol. Oh, woe is me. Oh, hang on, cut it out, please. There is a protocol for this. And I'm saying, listen, people, let's follow the protocol. Well, some of the shenanigans that went on here in this county, not in my particular district, but like I said, a good friend of mine for over 40 years, who is a volunteer at the poll stations, every time there's a voting, unless she's sick or something, that person's there. So, but to the point though, it's like, there was shenanigans going on here in Colquitt County at some of the voting places. Now, one could argue, well, wait a minute, they're not allowed to do that. Well, if grandma in a wheelchair with Alzheimer's was a registered citizen and a registered voter before she got her Alzheimer's disease, is being wheeled in by a friend or, quote, family member, here, grandma, vote. What? Here, push this button. What's a button? Here, push this right here. And I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's not just one place or another place. It's going on all over the place. Okay. We need to be aware that, yes, it is happening. Is it fear mongering? In a way? Yeah, because there are folks who are trying to subvert a viable voting process. Now, this has been going on for a long time, but the thing is that we need to clean up the rolls. We need to stick with the plan that Bring in your voter registration card, please. Bring in your ID, your driver's license or whatever. And if you're not driving, then you can get a personal ID, you know. And the thing is that you should be willing to do this. As an American citizen, you should be willing. And look, hey, I got my ID. What about the rest of y'all? You know what I'm saying? I'm proud to have my voter ID card. I'm proud to have my driver's license again. Thank you very much. But you know, it's like at my age, it's like, well, I don't have to wait. I'll have to renew in 4 or 6. So when I'm 70 or 72, okay, I'm good with that. I don't drive much anyway, but to the point though, I'd hate to lose that quote privilege. So I just don't understand where all these people get their tidy whities in a bundle, in the fact that they you know, are screaming discrimination because you for some reason don't have a voter registration card or an ID. And I say, if you want to vote, you should be proud to get your voter ID card. You should look for it. You should say, I got mine, and look at the other people and go, I'm sorry, it was really easy to do. I went down, I registered, they gave me this card. It's got my district, it's got my name, my address. It has my information on it, so I can vote. I'm proud of that. Have been proud of that ever since I was allowed to vote back in the early 70s. I was like, can't wait to vote. And I've been registered ever since. But here's to the point, though. I was proud to be able to get my card. And when I, you know, back then it was like, well, we're going to change the voter rate thing to 18. I was like, you know, and I was 17 at the time. I was like gung ho for that. And they was like, well, we're at 21. Okay, fine. Kids are 18, 19 dying in Vietnam, but none of us can vote. And that's still true, by the way. Young kids are going to Afghanistan and stuff, but, you know, 18 should be a legal right to vote. So, you know, I just went down and got mine first in Florida. Then when I moved to Georgia, I got mine permanent one here in Georgia. And I've been registered to vote here in Colquitt County for the last almost 50 years. So it's like, okie dokie, everybody. But I still don't understand what all the screaming is about, that to have a voter ID and a picture ID, which most voter IDs are not, at least the ones that I've seen around here in Georgia. Maybe they'll change that. That would be easy to do. You know, here, my driver's license picture is already in the system. They could swipe it off my driver's license and put it on a voter ID card. I'm fine with that. But I don't understand why people are so adverse to it. Whoa, we can't if you mean I gotta be, I just can't walk in here and vote. Sorry, no, it doesn't work that way. Yes, you're an American. Yes, you're a citizen. Then go get your card. Quit being a pansy about it and go get your card. Yes, it's our right. Yes, but shouldn't we all say, listen, is the guy next to me really an American? Is the guy or person next to me truly an American citizen? And I'm sorry, but I've been here for 66 years. I've put in my dues. This is my right, and here's my proof. But how many people wish to stand up for that? They want to whine and bitch. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to do. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, please, please. They're pushing little granny ladies into the local chapters and helping them push the buttons when they don't even know what they're doing. This happened here locally. I've heard of it happening in other places. I can't verify those people, but I looked into it. It's happened across Florida. It happened across Georgia, and it happened in our own county. Yes. Are things being weird? Yes. Are folks trying to steal things away from us? Yes. If you really want somebody to vote, then let's be sensible about this. You're going to take a person with Alzheimer's in a wheelchair in to vote, and you're going to vote for them? Now, there's really no provision in there that says, but you know what? There should be a provision. If somebody's being brought in with a wheelchair or something, and they aren't conscious, you should be able to ask them certain questions. If they don't know their name, what day it is, do you know why you're here, Miss Jones? I don't know. This nice lady's pushing me around. Aren't we going to the park? And that's kind of what happened on a large scale, from 250 voters to over 800 in the same precinct. I'm sorry, something seems a little fishy here. Now, guess what? There is a close race for the gubernatorial race. Black lady versus white neocon with a shotgun. And that's what they portrayed in the ads around here. And I was like, what? Oh, they called in Oprah and Obama into, Georgia to try to help with the swing vote. And if anything, they probably shot themselves in the foot. But it's like some of these folk, I have to say, are of, now I'm going to say, you probably already know what I was going to say. That's okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I didn't say it. I just thought it. But anyway, 3 people here. Oh my goodness. Rick and Delaney, Melanie. Let me put my glasses on for a minute. I think some of this stuff that's going on is just quite vile. It's like, now I don't drive much. And it's like if somebody was to come and say, Dave, you need a ride to the polling booth. I said, okay, sure. I'll go with you, kind of an outing, even though it's only a couple miles down the road. But to the point, I can speak and talk and write, and I know who I am and that kind of thing. But when somebody's getting wheeled in a wheelchair that simply is going, what? And the people are helping them to vote when they don't even know what they're doing, that to me is an issue. Nice to see you, Melanie, as well. I see your little icon there. Hey there, I won't feed the lizards. I don't like no political people. Well, and I'm not trying to be political. I'm just saying, I don't care who you vote for. I'm just saying, prove who you are so you can vote. But let's clean this stuff up. That's all. And the fact that people are trying to say, oh, well, there's no fraud. Oh, yes, there is. Let's pay attention to this. As an American citizen, this bothers me. I want my vote to count. But if somebody really, has Alzheimer's, and which was the case in several, I can't go into detail. Okay. It's some personal folks and things, but people know people in these small areas. And some of these people are like been in nursing homes and like really have Alzheimer's. Okay. And it's like, and they're voting, but the person who was voting was the person who took them in. That's my point. Okay. There are people in nursing homes who are perfectly lucid. Bring them on, let them vote. Okay. But the people who aren't lucid, then there should be a little questionnaire. If the poll worker goes, I'm sorry, Miss Jones, Miss Jones, what's your first name? Jones. And, maybe you shouldn't allow the person who's pushing you to vote for you. That's what I'm saying. And there's no provision for that. But it happened a lot. From 250 votes to 800 votes in the same precinct over all these years. What? Where'd all these 500 extra people come from? They were bussed in. And that's locally here in South Georgia. Come on, guys. Yeah. So for folks who are out there going, that's a bunch of BS. That kind of stuff doesn't go on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, but I think a voter emblem can be added to our ID like a donor sticker. Absolutely. I mean, they've got all this other information on. I just applied for my driver's license again and had to have my birth certificate, blah, blah, blah. But to the point, though, it's like now you have to have a birth certificate to get your ID. I mean, I'm sorry, your driver's license. And it was passed several years ago, but I had gotten my license renewed before that law passed. And now that however many years it's been. But so anyway, so I had to prove who I was. But to the point, though, it's like, I kicked the dirt for a day or two. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute now, you know what? Actually, with all the stuff that's going on, even though it's an inconvenience for me to get a copy of my birth certificate, which finally I found upstairs, by the way, thank you very much. But, I was prepared to pay for it, etc. And I realized it's like, you know what? Because I'm an American, there is a system I need to be a part of. If I wish to participate, then I got to follow these rules. Do I like them per se? No. But do I understand where some of the logic is? Yeah, please prove who you are, because we've had an influx of people here and we just want to make sure that you're an American. That's all. We just want to make sure you are who you are. And once you do that, and it's, and you've got your updated stuff, you're good to go. And I'm like, it was slightly painful for me and for those of us in our 60s who have to go back and try to find birth certificates and stuff, especially when you're born in another state and so forth. And a friend of mine was born in Germany, and they lost her birth certificate through the armed forces and the military, and she can't get anything. She can't even get an ID. I mean, like, what? But she, at the age of 6 months, she was brought back to the States, and she's been here in America ever since. She was born on an official American base in Germany back then, but they've lost her birth certificate in the military, and she can't get another one. And they go, well, I don't know. We don't. And Germany's like, you were born on an American base. You're not German. You're an American. Well, but the Americans go, oh, well, where's your documentation? I mean, it's like, what? So, but anyway, so there are situations on both sides. And there are, I guess, depending on who you are, there are negative connotations to what goes on. But the thing is like, as a right of as being an American, I'm really not offended. I was, but I realized now, wait a minute, my offense is like, oh, they're making me find my freaking birth certificate. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm 66. I've been here forever. Don't you believe I? No. Okay. All right. And then I thought, part of me has to get mad first, and the other part of me kicks in and goes, what about this, Dave? And so this is the other side of that. And the other side of that is very simple. I'm proud to be an American. I can't think of another country I'd rather be in, at least to live in and like go move to. But, that's my personal choice. Maybe a different state, but that's a separate issue. But to the point, though, I realized, wait a minute. If I'm proud to be an American, then I'm going to be proud enough to go down and get my voter registration card so I can prove who I am. Versus, well, what a pain in the ass this is. Look what the government makes me do. Well, okay. And, as an old conspiracy theorist, that's part of me went there first. Look at these assholes are trying to make me do. I got to get a damn birth certificate. Don't they know I was born out of stuff? Yada, yada. And I said some of those things, 2 months ago. And then over the course of 2 months, I realized, wait a minute, this is for my own safety. This is for your safety. It's for our safety. Okay, guys. So I don't see where this panic is about why should I have to show an ID. There's plenty of reasons. The second other thing is just as I'm going to close up here, and I'm going to read your comments in a second here, is that there really is voter fraud going on. There really are people who are shoving the ballots, either with people who can't vote for themselves. I mean, seriously, can't think and vote simply because they're in a wheelchair and are present going, does that make them a voter? Okay. Even though they have a card, it doesn't make them a voter. And they're at 66, I got to even think about this. What happens to me in 10 years? What if I really can't? Somebody says, come on, Dave, let's go vote. Huh? Who are you voting for? I don't want that to happen. And so, as an elderly person pushing old age or more, I look at it and go, hang on. I don't want somebody to do that to me. Now, if I can think about it and I say, hey, please take me, but I can push the damn button myself. Can I read it? No, but okay. I think you get my point. So let me see what y'all said. Blessings to all of you who always come and check me out. And thank you. I'm humbled every time you guys show up. Patrick, Rick and Delaney, I agree with the voter ID. Project Veritas exposed so much fraud. Absolutely. And it's going on right now, and I want them to recount. There are people, and this friend of mine, poll worker, said there were people who voted early and had to have a piece of paper. So when they came to they tried to vote twice. In other words, they voted early, but they didn't have the paperwork that the poll workers had. So when they got to the polls, the poll workers were like, I'm sorry, you voted early. What? And they were like, well, no, I filled out this paper and everything. Yeah, you voted early. You can't vote again. And there were so many people who showed up yesterday at this one precinct, by the way, who were trying to vote after they had already voted early. And a lot of people, my friend said, was that they got there and they were like, well, wait a minute, you're in the wrong precinct. Well, I want to vote anywhere. I'm not driving back out there. I live here now. Well, but it's still within the county. Get somebody to drive you. No. And they wanted to do all of these provisional ballots. And the provisional ballots aren't really valid. It's provisional. So it's like, so a lot of people trying to vote twice. And I'm talking in one precinct down here now. So just saying, when you're watching the news, and if you think your vote counted or not, think there really is shenanigans going on. And I mean, I'm like, okay, so just be aware of that. So blessings and peace to you all. Have a wonderful weekend. I didn't mean to make this a long one. I just thought I'd throw my 2 cents in with this. And if you haven't seen my video I did last night about ethics, honor, and respect, it's interesting. Just saying. I don't usually promote a video, but I read some things out of Wikipedia, definitions and so forth that fits the situation. And as my friends, I would say, if you haven't watched it, please check it out. There is really some good information in there. So I love you all until next time. I got some others. I've always got a little subject back in the back of my head somewhere, but the angels are working on the message for you. So be careful, be aware, be kind to one another. Did you see it, Melanie, about the ethics and so forth? Please give me your 10 cents quick, if you don't mind. An answer to everything, paper ballots. Not actually, Wade, and hi, Wade, by the way, but no, paper ballots aren't the answer either. It really isn't. Now, what I think should happen is all these little Diebold machines that we use in the voting should give me a paper receipt. Now, I am for the paper receipt. It could be coded. It could have, printed over here. I think they should print when I pull my little sticker out, it should print out what I did. And I'm like, Diebold or Diebold, however, they make cash registers. This should not be a hard thing for them to attach to the side. Here's your vote, Mr. Dave. Brink, and then it goes into the machine. So if there's any question, you can go back in and maybe you could go online and scan it and make sure that your vote got counted. Or maybe, or somebody maybe used your barcode to vote twice for you or something. I mean, I think there's a way around this. And because of all the electronics, I absolutely do believe we could do this. We're already doing it electronically. It goes into the machine, and then some security guy comes by and plugs in a thumb drive and downloads the votes, and then goes to another machine and then downloads those votes off the thumb drive. Are you kidding me? I would trust better just, go online and go, here's my social security number. Here's my voter ID number. Here's my whatever else thingy you want. Here's my photo. Here's my eyeballs, ding, I voted, and let somebody else try to do that. I think we can do it, with the blockchain that they're using. Come over to Wayne Steiger tonight at 7. Jeff P is on. Yep, I've noticed. I so agree, respect, honor, and integrity. Thank you, Melanie. Lose the name, win the game. Hey, Tinfoil, how are you? As a watchman, I have to speak about some of these things, even though I try not to get on and discuss politics a lot, as you all probably know. But, these politics affect us all. And when I know people who've seen things and witnessed things, and, when it's a firsthand experience, I got to say, hey, gang, number one is don't believe the hype. Well, nothing's going on here. I don't know why they want to recount, because these people screwed up, and we need to call them on it. We need, as Americans, we need to stand up and go, no, I want the right vote. And I don't want you idiots out there trying to, to stuff the ballot in any way, shape, or form. No, I want a true and correct count. Now, some of these people are screaming about it because they're trying to stuff the ballots with more provisional ballots and write-in ballots and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, nah, ain't for that. Let's count the ballots that were already done. Let's do that correctly. And people bringing in an extra bag. Whoa, here I found another 10,000 votes in a paper bag out back. Are you kidding me? If that's, any paper ballots that were put in should have been already collected and collated, etc., by election day, because they have to be put in before election day. There's a deadline for write-in, for the, voting early. So it's like, they're trying to come up with this, wait, we've got some more. Hang on. There's already supposed to be counted, or at least in your office. You should already have a handle on this. I'm sorry. That's part of Georgia law and other state laws. So, you can do a write-in, early voting up to a point. And then it becomes a provisional ballot if you don't make it to the polls. And I'm not quite sure about the provisional ballot, but think provisional. They're using it, well, they have to check your ID. They got to go through all this other stuff. And it's like, but okay. But to the point, it should matter to us. It really should. And the fact that seeing it on my local level, I'm like, you got to be kidding. Where did 500 more people come to vote in one precinct in my local area? That's a crap load of people for around here. 500 more people that don't normally vote got bussed in, trucked in, and helped to vote? Wait a minute. Hang on. I want those records to be sent to the state election boards and go, do you see anything wrong here with this picture? Over the last 25 years, it's never went above 300. And then all of a sudden we get 500 more people voting in the same precinct. What? You don't think something's a little strange here? Maybe you should check a little closer. Just saying. So, Tinfoil, Melanie, all of you, honor, blessings to you folk. I'm going to quit going on and on about it today. Snow on the ground today. Even now, that's a good and dark. So much for summertime, huh? Tinfoil, where are you at? You're up north somewhere, I know. Down here in South Georgia, where it's a little blustery, overcast, been raining off and on, and the cold front's supposed to move in. It was supposed to have already went through, but we're going to have rain through the evening. So, so much for weather, so much for our weatherman these days. Now, our local weather people are really good folk. They really do. This one lady's been on the air for 20 years. God bless her, but to think that, when we try to predict weather, a storm comes out of nowhere from some kind of, trailing in the sky. But anyway, so let me say blessings to you all. And I'm in between rain showers right now. So I've got a couple chores outside to do. Just wanted to get on here and give you my 10 cents worth and send you blessings for the coming weekend. I think the indictments and other documents. Yes, Wade, I believe so too. And I think that's one reason why Jeffy Poo got kicked out. I think that was a setup. I think several months ago, I spoke about this in a separate video, but I'll make comment on this, in that it kind of looks like that's what happened. This Whitaker gentleman was his chief of staff or aide or something, so he knew everything that's going on. So when Jeff was asked to leave, and I think he was asked to leave several months ago, and was told, when midterms are over, Jeff, you're going back to Alabama, period, And I think it was already in the works because it was too slick. It happened too quickly. Not the next day, not today on a Friday, but the morning after the elections. Jeff, you're gone. That was planned. I'm sorry. Now, whether Jeff knew about it, I actually think he did because, there were instances where Jeff was on the plane with the president, and I think I think he knew. I think it was planned. Now, I think the reason a lot of it is because Whitaker could work as his chief of staff and do all the things that Jeff needed to do. Whitaker knows where all the bodies are buried, if you will, and that because he didn't start the indictments, he's the finisher. He's the closer. I think Whitaker's the closer. There are times when in business they'll fire a plant manager or transfer him and move in somebody else, and they bring these folks in and they close the plant. Within a year, the plant's closed. People are fired because the person who's has been manager of the plant for the last 10 years it isn't going to fire his friends. I know this because it happened in Tifton when 2 plants were closed up there. So I'm personally aware of these things, and so I think Whitaker is the closer. If not, he's the interim AG for the closer. Now, in my opinion, have nothing else to back on it. Why would Whitaker be in the background and know all this stuff, and he slip right in the following day? Now, he's got to get approved or whatever, I guess. But to the point, this guy knows it all. Why would they bring in another attorney general if this guy already knows it all? And that's going to be Trump's point. I'm picking this guy, and he's my choice because he knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows what Jeff Sessions knows. And Jeff, for whatever reason, and I think it's simply because Sessions has been in the Senate for so long, he can't do it. All right. He's the plant manager that can't fire his friends. Whitaker, on the other hand, has been his right-hand man. Whitaker can be the closer in this. Does that make sense? I'm like, oh, look at this crap, and it came to me yesterday when I'm discussing stuff like that. Lindsey Graham might be, but see, I think that's being tossed around because Trump really wants Whitaker. He wants his inside man. Why would they appoint someone else who doesn't have a clue of what's going on? That would not promote the agenda. You follow me? That doesn't follow the plan. He might come in there, whatever. Yeah, no more delays, tinfoil. Yeah. It's not too late, tinfoil, because they can drop this stuff out before these people are sworn in January. And I think that's the plan now. I think that's why Sessions hit the road the day after the midterms, is because they've got 3 months, November, December, until what, January 20th, I think is when they're all sworn in, that kind of thing. So they've got until then before these people are sworn in to drop the big bombshell. Now, somebody brought up another point about this, since we're on the subject and you all are sitting here. It's that, you know what? Some of the Republicans' seats that were lost are fresh Democrats. Now, who would be easier to work with from a Trump standpoint than a fresh new Democrat who's new into politics, who's going to he's going to be able to be pressured easier. Hey, go along with the plan, son, or madam, as the case may be. And, this is what it is. And Nancy Pelosi is already starting to make concessions with Trump. Oh, she agrees with infrastructure, building bridges, tunnels, fixing roads. Okay, what? She's already agreeing with the president? Somewhere along the line, some kind of deal was made. Don't know. Now, it may be that Nancy, because she doesn't want to go to jail at her age, has swung a deal. And that the new AG, whoever it may be, right now we've got a temp, but so maybe it takes them 3 months. Well, the acting attorney general can disclose any of this at any time at the president's request or behest, or So I think we're going to be in for some fun times these next couple weeks and until January the 20th. Some of this stuff might not actually get dropped before the holidays. They might wait till January 2nd, but I got a feeling because if they can keep these folks from being sworn in as senator or representative or whatever, then, and people are going to go, wait a minute, oh, hang on. Well, yeah, Jeff Sessions, he was supposed to have dropped this a year ago and he didn't do it. So I fired him, and now this guy, he's picked up the ball, and sorry, folks, but Here's all the indictments. We've got all the information. It wasn't Jeff's fault, but Whitaker picked it up and said, time to do this. Just saying. It's going to be interesting. Now, am I right? We'll see. That was sort of like my dreamscape last night. I was like, there's really something afoot here, more than just him firing Sessions. And there is a plan. And I think, like I just said, somebody's going to be the closer. It may not be Whitaker, but it would give Whitaker the opportunity before anybody screams, squabbles, or whatever to start dropping the bombshells. Wait a minute. What? Can't blame that on me. Jeff started this. Well, I'm just the intern. You know, there's a scapegoat reason and a plan around it. It just seemed to me, when it dawned on me that Sessions went out too easily the day after, that's what leads me to believe there's a trick up the sleeve. And I've seen this kind of thing happen in the politics of corporations, where there's a change of directors or a manager over a particular area or something. I've seen this happen. Okay, so it's like, oh, that's what you're doing. Now, we'll see. That's my 10 cents on this. I do damn think it's going to be flipping exciting one way or the other. And I because I think Trump's going to be able to go, Whitaker, come on now. You're the AG. It happened. It was too slick. It was too slick. That's my point. It was, if it had been like a bumpy ride, well, if Trump had said something else like a day later, well, you know, Sessions needs to go, or he didn't. There hasn't been a word about Sessions for a while, last couple of weeks, you know, current memory. But all of a sudden he's gone and this other guy's in, and whoops. Now, if you don't think that would send panic to the people, Democrats and Republicans, who might think that they're on one of those lists to cooperate with the president, like Nancy Pelosi, all of a sudden, she didn't come out slamming him and all that. Now, Maxine Waters has, but Nancy Pelosi all of a sudden is like, oh, I think me and the president can negotiate. And some of the Democrats are going, what the fuck did she just say? What? You're going to work with Trump? What? There's some surprises going on, you see, even within that own circle. And I thought to myself, still, and it's a concurrent ponderance, if you will. There's something in the works here, you know. And why would she come? You know why? She should have come out for a couple of days going, "We're the Democrats. Look what we did." She didn't. She came out of the gate compromising with Trump. Suspicious? Just an observation, but. From an outside point looking in, and, you know, years ago, I mean, I used to really get pissed. I was Democrat, freaking Republican. Okay, I don't do that anymore. Now, I act like it, you know, a lot of times in my fervor of trying to get the point across, you know, but that's the actor in me, if you will. But I'm not acting in this. It's just that, you know, there are certain emotions that it brings up. And it's like, oh, my God, you know. So I say that tongue in cheek, well, a slight bit of humor thrown in there, but things I believe are going to get dang interesting, because now all of a sudden, I mean, the incident with Acosta in the White House the following day, and the fact that, you know, I did that thing on, you know, ethics and honor and respect. I mean, come on, the guy was so disrespectful. And one of the things that I found very humorous in the Wikipedia was that anyone who doesn't respect authority has a mental problem. And I was like, oh my God, I could have written it out myself, but no, it's on Wikipedia. Just type in respect and go down to the bottom, respect for authority. And it gives us, it's humorous. So it's going to be fun. So folks, be kind, be sweet. Oh, somebody wrote some more. Okay. Lindsey Graham is former military. He can be reactivated. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. Someone would have to have the inside scoop. Now, if Lindsey Graham has been somehow cavorting around and knows what Jeff's been doing and knows what Whitaker knows, because nobody knows what Whitaker knows, because I've been an assistant. I've been assistant chiefs of staff, if you will, to managers and so forth. And the next in line, the second in command or whatever you want to say, knows more than the guy who's doing it because he's given these tasks to perform. So I always knew more than the managers because I was more. I had more hands on with it. They were too busy managing. But if a particular thing came up, or if there was something and I didn't think they needed to know about, it was at my discretion. So the second guy in command, he knows more than Jeff. Just saying, because as an assistant to several different engineers, I always knew some under stuff that they didn't know about because I didn't want to bother them with it, and it wasn't necessary. But I was aware of it. Now, had I been the manager and I had an assistant, I wouldn't know what my assistant knew. It just is, that's how it works. So the assistants always know, all right? And I think Whitaker does. Now, okay, put Lindsey Graham in there, he might come up with something else, but it's going to be interesting. I would like to see Whitaker be the closer, actually. I don't know that much about the man, but as a person who has been second in command, if you will, assistant manager of a large, corporate entity. It's like, I get this, and, where my boss man wouldn't go around, you lay it on the next guy to be the closer for you. So, and the president, I like hearing your thoughts, David. Thank you. You're very welcome, Miss Melanie. Hugs and, cosmic everything to you, right back at you. I think Putin and Trump will have a press conference on the 11th. They are both in Paris. I think so too. We should have a chat later tonight on the subject on Hangouts. Okay, brother. I'll be around unless I get conked out. Some of these cosmic energies have really been strange, but to the point. Miss Melanie, Wade, everyone, I love you all, and prayers and blessings to you guys. So, and if I can, Wade, I'll try to get on later on with Wayne. So, but blessings to you all. Mother Nature, oh my goodness, where have you been? Haven't seen you out and about. Oh, please tell me you're doing better or all right or something. Absolutely, much love. Absolutely. I look through the folks. I'm overwhelmed at all times when I see somebody subscribed. And it's like, what? Another person subscribed to my channel. Hi, everybody. I love you back. It's like, I've talked about this early on in my YouTube career, in that, my angel messages were that I needed to speak out and not worry about how many people signed up for my channel, that those people who needed to hear or want to hang out with you are going to do so. And I was like, okay, ye of little faith, that's me. And so now I understand, oh my God, those angel messages were so correct. You folks are so wonderful. The prayers, I can sometimes, it might be, Wade might be thinking and going, I haven't talked to Dave in a while. It's like being tuned into the cosmos and into the cosmic radio. I'm hearing some of this stuff, and lo and behold, I'll get on the computer in a few hours or something. Someone will have left me a comment on a video I did. God bless y'all, and I don't use the God word often, but, creator, blessings from the source, etc. Because, it's just like, and you humble me by your presence here on this channel, because it's like, okay, I'm here. I do my thing. I'm the old hermit down in the woods. I'm the old hippie hermit. But at the same point, you give me so much strength. You have no idea. It's not that I really need the strength, but let me put it this way. I didn't realize that I needed you all's strength until I got it. And then it was like, oh my gosh, you guys give me a boost. And I was not expecting that. I mean, but it's out there in the cosmos. And simply because you put same to you and much love, that's going out there in the cosmos and you're directing it towards me. Oh, blessings. And so, for those naysayers that go, yeah, right, Hawkeye, you pray for everybody. Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. And names run through my head. And, you know, your little icon thingies go through my head. And it's sort of like a kaleidoscope. And sometimes it goes really fast, but everybody's on the list, you know? And it's like, share it out there, spread it out there, you know, honor, love, respect, you know, come on, how hard is this? You know, well, actually, it is kind of hard sometimes, especially when people put us into particular circumstances and situations, you know, and it's like, but since I've got you all here, if no one has told you lately, you're awesome and doing a great job. Thank you, Mother Nature. Much love to you. I mean that sincerely. I have wondered, I haven't seen your name around lately, and I'm like, you know, sending out the love here. Hope you're okay. You know, and it's okay that I don't have, I bring this up in that, you know, like my sister called me last night, and it's like I can get in touch with her. I know where she lives, sort of in, you know, in Florida. And I, you know, so I'm kind of like tune into my sister or my brother or, you know, a friend that I know of, you know, I kind of sort of know their location. And, you know, and so when I want to send them a message, I got a little bit more to focus on. Now, you folks, all I got, and I mean this with the utmost of respect, all I got are your little icons here. Now, I have spoke to Wade a couple of times, and Mother Nature, you and I have chatted, but to the point though, it's like that's the contact I've had. I, you know, I've not seen your house or where you live, you know, general direction. I don't need to know where you are. The fact that you are in tune to the quantum universe, though, is proving to me, and I think to all y'all out there too, that this stuff works. It's real, you know. You send a prayer along, you go, well, I'm not sure where Mother Nature is at, but this prayer is for her. Here you go, ding, and out it goes. And for some reason, simply because we've had previous contact, the prayer gets there, I guess. I hope. I know your prayers get to me. It's uncanny, and I love it. I really do. It's so humbling. I figured if I had 10 people on my as subscribers to my channel, that would be 10 people that were just awesome. There's over 100 people. Every one of you are awesome. I mean, it's like, oh my God. So that's a, you know, 10 times fold what I ever expected, but it's a blessing. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate everything that you all say and do, and the fact that you hang out. But right now, Mother Nature, I'm sorry. I've been on here for a while already, and I got a butt ache. I got a butt cramp as an old man. I got to go stretch, and the bathroom's calling. It's been time. It's like, okay, Dave, time to go pee. You know. So anyway, but know this, all of you. I do send out love every single day. And I just, you're on my Rolodex of thoughts, and the prayers go out. And just know that if you're having a bad time and you need to contact me, I'm on Hangouts. If, you know, you can send me an email, put a comment in. If you need something else, or you want to you just want to chat, doesn't matter about what the subject is, get in touch with me. Okay. Because that's what I'm here for. All right. So I love you, Melanie, Mother Nature, blessings, 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 hugs to all you folks. Okay. And my little ending prayer. All right. I hope that all of you will accept and receive the blessings, the healing, and the knowledge from the universe. I hope that each one of you, your family, your relatives, will accept and receive the blessings and the healing from Source. I pray that every single one of you will continue the wonderful work that you're doing with yourself and those around you. Blessings to every single one of you. Pass along the compassion and the love and the healing, because we're all in this together, brothers and sisters. And we're all seeing a difference, even though there may not be other folks who are understanding what's going on. I say between us, is that that's what they're going to get next. This is our part of our transition, Mother Nature, and to the rest of you, Melanie, in that we're learning that this cosmic love really exists. We're learning between each of us how real it is and how tangible it is, and what we feel when we get together in the chat rooms, if you will, and the love that is shared. That's part of the transition. That's the footing. And for those people who don't understand that, or get where we're coming from, they're gonna have to, play on the slip and slide before they get to the kiddie pool. So, but anyway, so much love. Accept the prayers and the healings from the universe, and blessings to all of you, and cosmic hugs all around. Until next time, I am your intrepid host and crazy hippie person, Hawkeye Two Feathers.